Kestrel has been by far their top 2 most played heroes, but they're going to be switching it up a little bit here, going for the Lyra first pick after the Grace ban comes out. Vox going to go over to Immortals. Obviously, we know Zeo is incredibly talented with the Vox pick, and they ban away the Baron.
Yeah, and I think here they probably might ban away Samuel and then get Kestrel on Truth, potentially here. Because, you know, Samuel has been a hero that Tigers has played so well. Probably one of the best Samuel players in the game right now. And they also gave Zeo his Vox, something that he actually played really well in the games against Hammers, or just carried really, really hard. So I think Nova will probably either do that, or they may take away a captain they don't want to deal with. Okay, Baptiste, actually. They're going to take away the Baptiste, which they're banning against themselves. And then Adagio gets picked by Immortals here. So it's a very interesting draft. They're changing things up a little bit.
Yeah, the Baptiste, I don't really know if it's so much a ban against themselves when they already have the Lyra, because typically when they do play, it is in the captain role. It's not really something that they've run in the jungle. But with that Adagio coming out, now the gears have to start turning for Nova. Like, does that mean that they're going to be looking for, you know, a Grumpjaw who's been paired with the Adagio a lot, or are they going to be going for
Kestrel Samuel?
You know, yeah, exactly.
Like a meta
There's
composition.
a lot of different things that they can look for, but I think the Kestrel Samuel is definitely going to be their best bet.
Yeah, Kestrel Samuel Lyra was that composition we saw a long time ago, being the original how to deal with a Grumpjaw composition, right? That was something that you could keep everything at arm's length, and it was kind of a safe composition. It's something we've seen a fair bit a couple of weeks ago. It's been less common, though, as of more recently. We'll see how they're going to round out, whether they do go with that Samuel.
The fact that they're putting so much thought into this leads me to believe that it may not be the Samuel. They're obviously very heavily considering something else. Otherwise, you just
maybe
grab
a weapon
that Samuel
power like
so,
Glaive or Idris and do a CP Kestrel potentially here. So they're going to go with the Samuel.
Okay, so they go back to the Samuel. Gave it some thought, but decided that all their other options that they thought of just didn't quite have the same impact that they feel the Samuel will.
And then here, I think Koshka would be a good pick if they want to go aggressive, or they can actually go with Celeste if Tigers wants to play a jungle Celeste here, because Adagio and Vox give so much early game pressure. Adagio definitely beats Lyra in the early game, so they can abuse that and play like Glaive, Koshka, or even Cruel to really get some good picks here. But we'll see. Ozo would work too, actually, in this composition, because he can kind of jump back and forth while Vox dives onto one of the heroes as Ozo jumps onto them. So let's see what Immortals will end up picking, because a lot of things work right now for them. It's just a playstyle they want to play with here.
Yeah, I feel like you really need to get someone who is melee at least, just so you can provide the gift of fire onto all of your opponents. If they were to go for something like the Celeste, then it's very difficult for this Adagio to really have much of an impact. So they are going to go with the Glaive. That is that melee. You can dive on in with the Gift of Fire, spread it onto all the opponents, and then the Agent of Wrath just gets put onto the Vox while he cleans house.
All right, so how are we feeling about these compositions then? Obviously, with the Glaive locked in here, there's potential for double weapon power coming out from Immortals, and historically speaking, that means that they want to be proactive and want to be aggressive in that early game.
Yeah, for sure. And I think they either will do a Tension Shock Glaive, but definitely double Tensionable for sure. I don't know if they go full double weapon. I don't think that would be good if they get to the late game, because it's easy to itemize against. But then again, they have to buy a Reflex block to counter the Glaive punts. So let's see how it's going to play out.
Yeah, double weapon could definitely work here, because they have to buy the Reflex block, and Kestrel is almost always 4 offensive items, 1 defensive item, and boots. And if one of those defensive items is the Reflex block and the Aegis, there's no room for armor in that build, and you can blow up the Kestrel in an instant if you have this double weapon composition.
All right, well, we'll see how the builds are going to pan out. That's definitely going to be one of the interesting talking points. Now, I want to reiterate to you guys just quite how important this game is going to be for Immortals right now. They have to get some more points on the board. They have to make it through to the finals, and I believe win the entire week here. Or, sorry, correct me if I'm wrong here, Bacon.
Yeah, they just need 4 points to be able to overtake Gangstars, who are at 13 and cannot gain anymore. And so all it is they have to make the finals, but they only have to make the finals to punch their ticket. But they can still climb even higher in the standings if they win the whole thing.
All right, well, we'll see whether they're going to be able to make that happen. It's time to get on into this semi-final. Join us on social media, #Vainglory8, to get involved in the conversation. But let's get North America underway as we jump into our first semi-final between Immortals and Nova.
Thank you very much, Munchables. It's us here on the Halcyon Fold, myself, Dalcyon, and Scoundrel, to break down day 2 of the North American Vainglory 8. Immortals looking to punch their ticket to the Unified Western Live Championships with an invade as well. It's 3 men straight on in. They're going to steal away this front trailing camp.
I think what we're looking forward to seeing here is where this glaive is going to go, because we have not seen a CP glaive in quite a while. A couple of updates ago, essentially it got nerfed. The cooldown on the afterburn was slightly increased and therefore made CP glaives, you know, ever so slightly less viable. But nonetheless, we'll have to see where T-Tigers runs with his build. Lone Delphi on the Samuel, and this is a very common composition, Dalcy. This is Super Siege composition. This is, I'm going to walk up to your turret, and every time I get the opportunity, I am going to slam down with those skill shots, the Malice and Verdict, the Glimmer shots, and take away your turret as quickly as possible. This is the kind of composition that can walk into lane and take a turret at sort of 4 minutes, 5 minutes in the game.
Yeah, the Lyra just provides healing so that the team can take some harass. And then, of course, Truth on this Kestrel and Lone Delphi on his Samuel, able to just do work. Yesterday, there was a lot of focus, I think, onto Nova as they were able to take down Rogue. So much focus onto Truth as well, who just put his team on his back in so many clutch areas. On a overpowered Kestrel, you have to think that he's going to be a little bit vulnerable to this glaive. And I will be interested to see if glaive does go down a typical CP glaive, or if we actually get a double weapon power from Immortals.
Yeah, double weapon power could definitely be on the cards. T-Tigers, if he was going to CP, probably would have invested double weapon blade.
Oh no, Truth is just caught straight on out, and that's going to be first blood going over to T-Tigers here. Finds his way down the lane, pops the boots, and it's easy as that.
Absolutely, and it's the double weapon blade coming out, like he said. Scum may be working towards a double weapon power build here. We can't count out the potential of a CP Vox, although I heavily doubt that's going to be the case. I think we will literally just see a double weapon power build coming out from Immortals. Again, this is something that you can do. We've seen it with the Cruels. Why not with Glaive? Go down the tension bow, potentially pick up a bone saw on him later into the game. DNTO just going to stick to the classic weapon power Vox build on update 2.6, which is that poison shiv, breaking point, and tension bow build that we've seen so much success with. And double tension bow will be a big spike for this team as well. We haven't really talked about this, Dalcy. Truth on his Kestrel, something that he's quite well known for, and as he gets more weapon power, he'll become less and less vulnerable to that weapon power glaive.
Yeah, no, this is definitely something to consider as we get into this one. Immortals with that first blood is so important for their survival here. They need a series win here. If they are able to take the win in this series over Nova, then not only do they punch their ticket to the Unified Western Live Championship, but for all you Gangstars fans at home, unfortunately, you have just lost yours. So it's very much everyone watching to see the result of this, to see exactly where it goes. And it looks like Nova perhaps starting up this siege machine they have. If Lone Delphi sticks around, Truth very low on energy, and that could be an issue if they did actually want to push a turret.
Yeah, because of that early pressure from the glaive in lane, it does mean that Nova have not had the opportunity to rotate up to lane and push it as a unit as much as they maybe would have liked. Truth obviously getting forced back quite early on here. Picked up the heavy steel, so just using those glimmer shots to hit as hard as he can.
Oh,
Immortals
Tigers.
Yeah, Immortals just going to rotate down as a unit here.
Yeah, both Starboy and Lone Delphi there to secure that Elder Treant, the center one, and T-Tigers just takes it away. This guy's a boss in the jungle. He's saying, Lone Delphi, you watch out, my son. Truth now has to be in a little bit careful. He should be able to get to the turret, survive here. Nova are just trying their best to find some early aggression. They have a lot of power, I feel, at Scoundrel with this glaive in the early game.
Yeah, it's this part of the game that the Nova composition needs to kind of watch out. I mean, they do have a slightly good early game with that Samuel. He's got a pretty good sort of early jungle, especially from level 2 onwards, but hasn't really been seeking fights because T-Tigers has been very lane focused in his pressure. And that may come back to bite Immortals. Generally, when you're lane focused, you need to be consistently looking to gank, to consistently then push lane and trying to get something off the back of that. When you gank lane over and over again, it's not just to get kills for your laner, but it's also to generate lane pressure and push on to a turret. When you're sort of less jungle focused, It's a lot harder, I think, in my opinion, to snowball the game unless you are just consistently trying to gank over and over. And you can see Immortals have slowed down quite heavily from that first gank, and T-Tigers is just doing what he can to steal wherever he can at this point. Whoa, big
Starboy's
shot.
caught out though. That's a huge afterburn. He's trying his best to speed away, but he cannot. It's another kill to T-Tigers. They're going to take this Crystal Sentry as well. I think this is something that we criticized Rogue of yesterday in their series against Nova. They had a very melee, team fight orientated composition. They tried to siege turrets over and over again, Scoundrel. Immortals are not doing this. They are looking for fights in the jungle to try and get their leads.
Just exactly the opposite of what I was saying earlier. You know, T-Tigers has now shifted focus to looking to push into the jungle of the Nova lineup, looking to punish where he can by stealing great afterburn.
Delphi's caught out. Can he escape this? He's burning away. Max Green charging forward, looking to do the work. Dienzio trying to get into range as well. They don't have the kill. He is going to escape, it seems. Max Green not going to pursue. Mortal's getting so close to finding a kill into Lone Delphi. Would have been huge for them.
Truth did a really good job, by the way, of just walking to the backs of the Immortals roster to try and obviously get something back from T-Tigers' push onto the Crystal Sentry. Starboy's going to have to be careful here. T-Tigers does have his afterburn, but won't be able to use it because of the Bright Bulwark.
Let's talk about kind of the win conditions real quick, Scoundrel, as Immortals do push in for a siege here. I think this will get upset very quickly. No, never mind. Lone Delphi! He's completely caught out. And yes, that Oblivion finds 2, but it's 2 that just doesn't matter. T-Tigers will get the fountain. Starboy now under the turret. T-Tigers is going to move back in and take this turret down. Starboy is in trouble. Max Green tanking it up, but the turret goes down. It looks like Starboy should be able to walk away from this one alive.
I'm not really sure what... I kind of follow what Truth was doing there. So Truth went to the Crystal Sentry to try and take it. He thought that maybe Lone Delphi and Starboy would be able to defend that turret by themselves. And he didn't then rotate once he realized that potentially that was the wrong decision. He just went and took the backs away. So Truth feels like he's just trying to shovel gold onto himself to get to that late game Glimmer Shot focused Kestrel. They're going to use this opportunity. Really, really good presence by Nova. Good presence of mind and map awareness to say, okay, we have forced Immortals back because they've taken a turret, they took some damage, they're all going to head to base, and they capitalize by taking the gold mine for themselves, keeping the gold within contestable levels at this point, just within a 2k range here, Dalsey. So again, despite some kind of awkward plays by Truth heading into the enemy jungle by himself, they do manage to capitalize and take some things off the map.
Just Immortals, though, moving into the enemy jungle, taking away these Crystal Sentries. That's a second life already removed from the map, and there's nothing Nova can or will do about it. There's no turret either. Immortals could look for a fight here, and Nova perhaps caught in an awkward position. Laid down that active camo. It is spotted up by Immortals, but here we go. Truth just completely destroyed, and Starboy late on everything. The Bright Bulwark and the Fountain just not there. That's going to be another kill going the way of Immortals.
So difficult to play into that, though. T-Tigers with the instantaneous afterburn knocks into the wall, gets the stun to Truth, and this is one of the win conditions for the Immortals roster. They have a very good early game focus burst composition, and they're going to do it.
T-Tigers just... this guy's crazy. He may actually go down here. He's going to turn around and look for the kill into Starboy, and he's going to get it as well, because why not? Lone Delphi going to chase down Max Green, who does have his ultimate, but really can't be looking to use it, I don't think. Maybe he can. Oh, that's a lot of damage, never mind. And Lone Delphi just completely chased to his death there. So tunneled on trying to get a kill for his team.
Yeah, and Truth now probably not going to be able to siege this by himself. Lone Delphi very desperate to try and chase Max Green down with that Frostburn. Looking for Truth to back him up, but Truth was trying to push the wave. They had two end goals in mind there. I definitely felt like Lone Delphi was purely searching for the kill, whereas Truth felt that he was more looking to push that wave up to get siege power on this first turret of the Immortals roster. But it's still a close game, nonetheless. I mean, it's obviously been kind of weighted in Immortals' favor, but Truth has got a lot of farm right now, 100 farm. He's got a tension bow pickup. He's going to be working towards that crit. I do like that Nova have made the correct decision, the one that Rogue failed to make yesterday, and realizing that armor is a pretty big deal in this game. And already seeing coat of plates for Lone Delphi and Truth picking up his own light armor.
Yeah, of course. There's literally no crystal power damage coming out of the Immortal squad. Unless Max Green decides to invest some money into some CP items, it's very unlikely that there will be any of that crystal damage coming through, and it's very important against the double weapon power that you get armor stacked up as quickly as possible. The tension bows are already there. 2.6 here, Scoundrel, with that 12% armor pierce, does a lot of damage, and Immortals, they're looking to just take away this last Crystal Sentry life. Once more, Nova going to allow it to go. Elimination before 10 minutes. This is great pacing from Immortals, and Nova can't really look for team fights. Lone Delphi wants to scale up. He needs to get this Samuel online. So does Truth as well. They've got excellent late game, but I fear they may not get there.
I actually think vision is really important to Nova here, Dalsy, specifically because if you have vision of the Immortals roster, Samuel does so much to prevent these awkward situations happening. Now, when I say awkward situations, I mean those scenarios where Immortals have found those afterburns. They're going to start up the gold mine here. They should be able to get this uncontested. So vision is very important because Lone Delphi can control so much of the fight. Oh, it gets stolen! It gets stolen!
Truth! This guy on Kestrel finds the one shot. That is a huge mistake from Immortals, who were just body blocking the same area and did not look for the angles. That's incredible. That keeps Nova at an arm's reach to instead of being, you know, miles away from their opponents.
I think they just didn't anticipate a weapon power Kestrel being able to just snipe it, especially as they knew they had no vision control of the area, or at least in terms of scout trap vision control. So it was more of a based on flares and when flares were coming out. But a great snipe by Truth, and Immortals punished for potentially being a bit lackadaisical in their play there, Dalsy.
Yes, certainly, and that's something that Immortals cannot afford to do. Their composition is very strong when it can go full steam ahead, and with no Crystal Sentry, they can certainly look to punish the jungle and keep Lone Delphi down in gold, down in experience as well. But they have to keep their wits about them. I think the thing that's impressed me about Immortals as a roster at Scoundrel is their journey through the Challengers series and how they just, you know, took a team that this is a team that does well at Scoundrel. This is a team that has accolades to it, but just struggled recently at recent events. Became the first team actually for a European squad to defeat in history of Vainglory. Pretty incredible for Europe, obviously. And they go down into the Challenger Series, they reform, and they just look so strong right now, really just pulling out all the stops. They are looking to siege up this turret, and look at T-Tigers just off to the side, looking for the perfect afterburn.
The win conditions for Nova are still going to rely on, I think when the Broken Myth comes out for Lone Delphi, you maintain vision of the Immortals roster, you build those Broken Myth stacks from afar, and remember, the Immortals can't really play the range game versus Nova, but Nova will play that game all day. Bright Bulwark is a big thing as well, stopping T-Tigers finding those afterburns, and what a great anti-siege that Bright Bulwark can be, an anti-tower dive tool for Nova as well. You can see now we're getting late into the game, Immortals are finding it harder and harder to seek the same opportunities that they found in the early game, simply because the levels are there. The Bright Bulwark cooldown is down. Lone Delphi with the Frostburn controls so much of the pace of these team fights. You can see the difference it's making.
Yeah, certainly Starboy can just lay it down every minion wave, and then the Truth and Lone Delphi can look to clean up the wave. It is T-Tigers going in. He blocks up the active camo. Oblivion is going to get Crucible. Dienzio almost with a kill, but he's just going to go down. He was caught out on the front line, and now Lone Delphi charging forward. Truth, one shot, double kill. Lone Delphi looking for the ace. Nova going to continue chasing forward, and there should be cleanup for Lone Delphi. There's no way he doesn't get this kill. An ace comes through, and Nova's patience rewarded.
What up, Truth on his Kestrel? Unbelievable prowess on this hero. And again, everything we just talked about came to light. The control, the Bright Bulwark preventing those awkward tower dives. T-Tigers has been thriving on catching Nova off guard in the early game through lack of vision and picking out carries when they were out of position. Nova has not been making those mistakes. They've been preventing the obvious attempts to tower dive with that Bright Bulwark. The control of these fights is completely paced by Lone Delphi, and now the armor has come out for him. He's also not getting blown up. A metal jacket pickup by Starboy. No longer is he a target for this double weapon power composition either, and it doesn't look like T-Tigers is moving anywhere further into armor shred either. He's having to go down the defensive route now. I feel like it's all on Dienzio's shoulders. The rest of this game is now going to be Dienzio stacking breaking point and seeing if he can run with these fights.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if we see cooldown reduction for Starboy in the next rotation. Another engage coming out of T-Tigers. Oh, Truth, he's caught out. He's going to go down. Dienzio finds the kill. Good Oblivion going to put T-Tigers asleep. Dienzio's just going forward. 2 kills for him, and that will be his job done. Fountain to keep himself alive, and the turret now going to be taken by Immortals. They just found the entry point that they needed, and Lone Delphi has to be a little bit careful. Has the Malice and Verdict, has a lot of damage, but has to respect T-Tigers.
Oh man, they managed to pick out Truth. I think they were so focused on Starboy being the primary target because he looked like he was taking the damage that T-Tigers switched and immediately juked for the push onto Truth, and then isolated him. The flare came out, meaning that he couldn't sneak away in that active camo, and like we said, Dienzio stacks that breaking point and runs them down. Truth has gone for a massive, 4-item Kestrel build. It's a very common 4-item Kestrel build with the Tornado Trigger and the Tyrant's Monocle, but it does mean now that he has sacrificed armor. If I were Truth, I would maybe be more worried about actually just having armor as opposed to this straight-up reflex block. I don't know. The reflex block is obviously important, but if you get hit by an afterburn, you're just dead. And even if you block it, I feel like you're just dead because of the T-Tiger's damage. But I mean, that's just me. That's just me.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from here. Scoundrel need to just be able to survive. T-Tigers is going to go in, but he's not quite able to get kill. Nova pushing fourth here. I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if Starboy stacks a bit of cooldown reduction so he can get that Bright Bulwark down up as quickly as possible. It feels like it's the win condition stopping T-Tigers from getting to the backline.
It might also just be the burst healing that he's looking for when he goes for this Dragonheart and goes towards the War Treads. That mobility is going to be pretty key, I feel, to the Nova lineup. Lone Delphi's been very, very good on this Samuel as well. Remember, we kind of haven't talked about it, but Lone Delphi got his Samuel and Truth got his Kestrel. Those are two big hero picks for this particular roster. Almost like, the sort of favorite. If Starboy was on Catherine here, it would have been like the rounded roster of Nova and all of their individual favorite heroes. An aggressive position for Nova. This could be potentially caught out.
Well, Bright Bulwark goes down, that's good for Nova, but now they have to regroup. It is going to be Immortals chasing on in. Starboy, the target, knocked back, taken down. Kill goes over to Dienzio, the first, and he's up on 10 of those stacks. Another comes through. He's just going fourth. Lone Delphi needs to escape here, Scoundrel. The Kraken is ready to be taken, and he is going to be chased on down. T-Tiger's going to look to just lay down the Delphi with a drifting dark Malice and Verdict. It's just not enough, is it? Ooh, almost finds the snipe, but that will be him going down. No, never mind!
Baby.
The root! It keeps him alive! Lone Delphi still chasing, gets the hill. 5 seconds and Starboy's alive. If he can snipe T-Tigers here, he gets the kill, and T-Tigers goes and gets the position to allow Dienzio to find the kill. Perhaps a mistake. I don't think they can get Kraken for it. Lone Delphi bought so much time.
Yeah, that's the major thing there, Dalsy. Lone Delphi bought enough time to prevent Kraken going down. So it's a silver lining for Nova here, but a silver lining that holds so much weight, because I feel if Nova actually play these fights correctly, that shouldn't happen. The reason Nova lost that fight, if you can think all the way back to that fight, as Starboy overextends just a little bit here.
Yeah, this is trouble. And Truth with a backwards one-shot. What are you doing, my man? He is going to go very low. Dienzio easily able to clean that up. That was a huge mistake. Truth, either the man to carry or the man whose back is broken after yesterday's games. Dienzio, a double. Lone Delphi, he cannot clean up this mess that Nova have created, and Immortals are going to punish.
What was that one-shot, one-kill? That absolutely was not what you wanted to happen if you're a Gangstars fan, especially if you're a Nova fan as well. It made him such a prime target. Lone Delphi.
He is just out in a position where he does not want to be. He does survive. Immortals get the choke point turret though, Scoundrel. Free as pie. They are going to backport, get some health and energy back, and now it feels like it's the fight for the Kraken with Immortals up by 4,000.
Interesting that they didn't just straight up take Kraken there though, Dalsy, given that you probably were going to get the choke point turret off the back of the Kraken anyway. Maybe they just feel that the Kraken's going to be their winning push, so taking the choke point turret out means they can probably get Kraken and win the game straight away. Nova need to make sure that they aren't putting themselves in these awkward positions before team fights break out, though. They split themselves up last team fight. Truth got isolated, wasn't there to deal the damage. He is the main damage dealer at this point in the game, and obviously Starboy and Lone Delphi then were easily 2v3'd with Truth not even being in the fight, so they can't afford to make those kind of errors when it comes to positioning before team fights right now. They need to be maintaining vision control, keeping the space open between them and the Immortals roster, really utilizing that massive range advantage that they have with the Samuel and the Drifting Dark and Malice and Verdict. That is their win condition right now. If they get locked in, down and dirty against this Immortals roster, they straight up lose.
All right, well, let's see how this plays out then, as it looks like Immortals are looking to push down the lane and find themselves another team fight. The one shot used into the brush to try and spot out T-Tigers, but
well, at least you can't fire it backwards now.
Moving on. The one-time mistake, Scoundrel. You don't make that mistake very often. It can cost you games, don't get me wrong, but it's not worth, I think, waiting on too heavy.
I was merely poking
You're
a bit
memeing,
of fun.
I know.
I was merely poking a bit of fun.
We're from EU. We're all just one big meme right now. Mortals. They are wanting to force this Kraken Scoundrel, but Nova aren't biting, and it's this vision that they've got that's allowing them to survive at the moment, though it's starting to be cleared out. Starboy, is he caught out here? Will they go for the kill? No, they won't. It is just going to be Nova resetting.
Infusions refreshed. Obviously, at this stage in the game, you need to have infusions up pretty much all the time to be able to match your opponents in terms of firepower. Starboy over aggressive here. This is not where you want to be as the Nova roster.
Goes down. That's early. Now they can engage on in. It's a great reflex block. T-Tiger's denied the afterburn, and now he's running away straight into the shot. Oh, one shot doesn't take the kill. He lives on a barely minimum amount of health. The fountain to heal him back up.
Starboy's got portal. He could have portaled straight away.
Wow, Nova perhaps missing an opportunity. The famous Starboy making perhaps a mistake. Nova not able to find a kill onto T-Tigers, and that could have been the key Scoundrel to finding the Kraken. They are going to go for it nonetheless. Dienzio and Max Green are here. They have full vision of this. And Nova respectfully going to back away.
Max Green now also with the metal jacket. You can see lots of defense picked up. T-Tigers has gone for the Atlas Pauldron, specifically because this is a tornado trigger variant of the Kestrel, so there is a lot of basic attack focus in there too. Wave pushing, I think pushing into Nova right now. They may have to go address that as they only have those two vein crystal turrets remaining. And we have a Mexican standoff here around the Kraken. Neither team willing to commit, but neither team willing to take that first shot either.
All right, so Nova are going to go and push their lane back here. As soon as Truth is spotted, Immortals going to push forward. Nova not going to get caught out. That is so risky, Scoundrel, when you're trying to just be the human scout trap at this point. T-Tigers, I think he wanted to go for the afterburn. Someone said no last second, so he quickly avoided going over that wall. Nova one-shotting into Dienzio. That's a big chunk of damage. Can they push forward is the question. It feels like Nova don't really want to play uber aggressive when those one-shots hit.
It's a double Crucible, by the way. Truth has picked up a Crucible here, so a Crucible for the Silence and a Crucible for the Adagio ultimate, you feel. But also, you know, you can always catch your teammate if they get isolated by an afterburn. You can go out with the double Crucible here as well. Starboy now picking up that chronograph for the cooldown reduction, and it looks like the first move will be made by Nova here. Lone Delphi creating the space for his team, but this is still going to be a disengage, you feel, from Nova, Dalsy.
Yeah, they're just trying to bait Immortals towards them. Another one-shot is going to be avoided. Good dodging by Immortals to separate for that. T-Tigers doesn't actually have much damage anymore, Scoundrel. Just the Sorrowblade and Tension Bow at the 22-minute mark, it doesn't output as much damage as you may think, and that could be a problem for Immortals if they don't catch someone out immediately.
It's all on Dienzio. I feel like Bonesaw would have been...
He's so far forward!
What's going on here?
Not good! Can Nova turn this fight for their favor? Is Immortal going to turn this around? Dienzio's still alive! Dienzio's still alive! That's going to be the Oblivion avoided, and in a fight disengaged. Immortals, they are feeling the pressure right now, Scoundrel, not wanting to make a mistake and risk Unified Western Live Championship possibilities.
There's one item here, one item, that is making this Immortals roster really feel powerful in these elongated fights. That is that breaking point. Dienzio, this is the standard build for Vox, but Dienzio is just one of the best at making the maximum use out of positioning and stacking and finding ways to be both aggressive and defensive at the same time. I see many laners, you know, perform, but I always see Dienzio, especially on this Vox, play an incredible game with his ability to kite back and forth and dive when necessary too. His decision making is just excellent. And he's the one person that gives the longevity needed in these Immortal fights in the late game to stand on its legs versus Nova.
If that's going to ever be turned around, because Dienzio, you would have thought, was dead. All right, but Immortal was able to keep him alive. Starboy lays down that Prime Bulwark, now just going to walk away, it seems. Here's T-Tigers knocking Starboy back. Not the prime target. Can Nova find another kill off this? No, Truth is caught. He's just dead, you'd think. He's burning away, but somehow survives for now.
Oh,
there it is.
dead.
The auto attacks find it. Dienzio with the kill. 8-1 and 5, looking for a second. But the healing coming out of this Lyra going to mean she doesn't fall. Empowered Malice and Verdicts. Not going to have the energy for many, though. Lone Delphi forced back here. Immortals, what do you do at this point? You're so low on energy, so low on health as well. Can you even afford to take a Kraken? They're going to try it.
If you're Nova, you cannot get close to the Immortals roster like you are. You cannot allow Dienzio 3 stacks at the start of the fight. Starboy just gave Dienzio a massive in that fight as Lone Delphi now moves down towards this Kraken. This could be a 2 versus 3. That range advantage might start getting used here.
Lone Delphi needs to stack up this broken myth. He needs to make a big play. He's got Oblivion available. Will he throw it out is the question. That's going to be the zoning versus the
Oh, he's stolen! He got stolen!
It's Starboy stealing the kill! I'm in love with Starboy right now, and so are Nova. How do you get away with that?
Starboy giveth and Starbuff take it away. He's been a monster this game to both his team but also to the Immortals roster, and now overextending slightly. It looks like Immortals want to punish them. They should be able to get away and disengage, though. The boots are coming out.
Truth is getting into the fight. Nova do disengage. So much BM coming out of Nova. Thanks and push to win. Immortals are baiting in a bush. Starboy's going to face check it, but he is so tanky at this point. And he says, bruh, I just stole your Kraken. What you going to do about it? T-Tigers, he's going to dive onto Truth. Silence and pushed away. Gets the fountain. Oblivion comes out. It puts Dienzio to sleep. That is huge. Can they turn it around? Nova, no, Truth goes down, but so does Dienzio. The Kraken's taken one turret. Lone Delphi trying to make the plays for his team, and it's going to be Max Green just body blocking up this Malice and Verdict. But is he just going to body block to death is the question. Max Green taking it all. 9 broken myth stats. Good night, Max Green. And it's going to be him falling. T-Tigers can't block it. The turret's going to go down here, Scoundrel. 36 seconds on Dienzio. Nova may just look for the win.
I don't know if they've got enough time. This is going to be so risky. It's at least, you feel, going to be 1 Vein Crystal turret. But T-Tiger's weapon power build should be able to push through this fairly easily. He's going to focus that Kraken as you should, trying to body block as much as he can on these turrets. It will be 1 turret and a disengage. Tries to punish Starboy, but he'll just portal over the wall. T-Tigers, let's notably look at his next item. It is a Blazing Salvo. Now, it's likely going to be a Bonesaw here, Dalsy.
Yep.
And I think that's absolutely necessary.
Poison Ship is possible,
fights.
though, as well. Like, you've got the Tension Bows, you've got Poison Ship on Dienzio, so that's where I think the Bonesaw's good, especially because the armor shred it offers Scoundrel applies for your teammates as well.
Exactly.
Sometimes you would even see Bonesaw built on captains for that very reason.
Yeah, you used to see Bonesaw built on Arden for that reason back in the day. It applies, it shreds the target's flat armor so that everybody that's attacking them gets that reduction in armor bonus, and that's where that's going to be sort of, I guess, facilitating Dienzio. T-Tiger's a little bit caught out potentially, but isn't going to overextend.
Gonna get away with it. Holy moly. This game is so exciting, and it's only game 1 of our North American Vainglory 8 Day 2 here at Scoundrel. We got another couple in this series alone. Then we got TSM versus Cloud9, and then we got the final to conclude the Vainglory 8 summer regular season, and 2.6 is a patch alone. Nova currently just waiting in a bush. Immortals, they must be feeling the heat right now.
Loads of item spikes hit as well. You've got the Eve of Harvest with the metal jacket. There's huge amounts of armor for everybody except for Truth, who doesn't, he's relying on his positioning to survive in these fights. That's the in for the Immortals roster. Find the weak point, the Achilles heel, and then find the shot on it. Truth is the Achilles heel for Nova. He will get blown up because he doesn't have the armor. They're going to start up Kraken. Do Immortals have the gusto to face check this? It looks like they're going to have to.
Yeah, certainly are. Dienzio starting to actually stack up onto Lone Delphi as well. Lots of damage coming out of Truth. Dienzio down to half HP. Can they get into this? Looks like Nova want to take the fight here. Very confident all of a sudden. Nova get in is the question, though. Lone Delphi starting to throw down Malice and Verdicts out. Has that Drifting Dark available. The Oblivion's there as well. The one shot's going to connect. No, it won't. And now Dienzio looking to move forward. There's the empowered Malice and Verdicts. There's Truth getting away from T-Tigers. He is so safe at the moment.
Oh,
And
there's the
that's
Oblivion.
It gets blocked, but here comes Starboy onto all three with a bright bulwark. The Judgment will get blocked. In fact, it doesn't hit. They escape.
Oh, and he gets
Nova
stolen
don't
the
find a
healing
kill,
camp.
and he steals the camp. This is just Nova schooling Immortals right now and telling them, if you're going to go to LA, then you're going to have to come through us.
And they should be able to get Kraken for free here. Truth will absolutely shred through this. It's going to be a miracle steal for Max Green, who I don't even think he's going to try and commit to it. They are going to have to defend a Kraken push right now with only one Vein Crystal turret remaining. Maybe Dienzio makes it in time. No way, no way. A Kraken unleashed for Nova. There is that bone saw there for T-Tigers that was there in the last fight, but they didn't find an opportunity to seek an elongated team fight to start stacking it up. It's going to be a frantic dash to take this down for Immortals. You can see they're already in position to start dealing damage to it.
Imagine how you feel right now if you're Immortals. Not able to find it. Dienzio's going for the fight. He's stacking up here. But the Bright Ball are going to disengage immediately for T-Tigers Starboy. Lots of damage onto him. It's 9, 10 breaking point stacks. T-Tigers goes in. Truth is escaping, but Lone Delphi in trouble. They're going on to Truth. Truth goes down. Lone Delphi puts Dienzio to sleep, and now Dienzio is woken, and he's going to go in and look for some more. Starboy low, but here comes T-Tigers, and Lone Delphi, he gets punted at Dienzio. That is Lone Delphi dead. There's a Kraken pushing their base. They have to backport to deal with it. Starboy can't stop any of those backports either. The Kraken will be stopped, Scoundrel, but at the cost of a Vein Crystal turret, an exposed Vein Crystal.
Every time the Immortals roster finds a fight that they win, it's because Dienzio starts it. He just walks up to Starboy, starts basic attacking him and say, so what, bruh? Like, it's so difficult as well because as the Nova roster, you don't want to commit to that kind of fight. You want to find the perfect position. You want to create space. You want to essentially try and win the fight before the fight has even begun, trying to use that range advantage to generate those broken myth stacks for Lone Delphi. They need to find a way to punish Dienzio when he makes those kind of moves, and that's going to have to be Truth landing glimmer shots onto him, Lone Delphi forcing him back with the Frostburn, but Dienzio just finds these openings to start stacking before things have even begun. And it's causing them to just completely run away with these fights, because Dienzio just runs down the Nova roster by himself, almost. It's unbelievable.
Double war threats for the teams of Immortal. Dienzio has his own pair, so he can start the fight when he wants to, and Max Green has one as well, Scoundrel. It just allows for the roster to get in there as quickly as possible and allows for Dienzio to be that carry from the front line, it seems, as well. Immortals are setting up with T-Tigers on that ward. Such a powerful position for the Glaive to play in Nova. They know it, so they don't even fight in that tight corridor. The one shot won't find a shot. T-Tigers, though, he is currently out of vision, and Nova are pushing up here. Oh my goodness, they're going to allow T-Tigers to put Truth out. Truth pops his war threats. He's trying to escape Dienzio. Dienzio gets slowed by the Frostburn. Lone Delphi trying to do work, but they have the damage. Dienzio gets the fountain. He's going to be okay. Nova showing that they have force to reckon with, and now it's Immortals on the back foot here. They have to be careful not to overextend. Immortals may look to turn, but here comes Starboy. Goes on in. Max Green gets pulled away from Dienzio. That is huge. No captain to keep Dienzio alive, and it is going to be Nova continuing to chase forward. They are going for the base, and Starboy's going to stop the backports. Oh my goodness, this is devastating for Immortals. Starboy just keeping Dienzio here. It will be T-Tigers and Max Green back into the base. Can they do enough to defend it is the question. Starboy staying alive. Truth escapes T-Tigers. Lone Delphi's on the Vein Crystal. Truth walks straight into T-Tigers and he dies. Oh my goodness. Can Lone Delphi do this? He's doing his best, but he doesn't have energy. He was only a couple of auto attacks from death. Nova lose Lone Delphi. Starboy. This is game possibly. Dienzio is trying to find the ace. If they get the ace, it's game for sure, but he can't get in range. It might just be a Kraken instead.
That was a one game for Nova if they just continue to force the team fight. They have a Frostburn. Samuel, run them down. You had the fountain, you had the crucible, you had every item advantage you could physically hope to find in a 3v3, and you decide to mean it. You just decide to send two of your carries down lane with just Starboy. It's not like it's a Koshka, not like you can pull a Flash X where you can single-handedly stop the entire backport of a team with a Koshka. You have a Lyra who's really only got that single target focus without the Bright Bulwark to deal the damage to stop them. Poorly executed from Nova, and the Kraken goes over to Immortals. I cannot believe It was an open goal, and they somehow kicked it over their head into their own goal.
Soccer references on point. This weekend scoundrel. Currently, it is the Game of Throws here. Immortals, a lease of life in this series. They still need to close it out. The gift given by Starboy, take it away by Starboy at the same time.
It's literally Starboy giveth and Starboy taketh away. And that has been his performance in this series. Some godly plays and some maybe less so.
All right, Nova, how do they stop this from being a end that they will just, you know, cry about almost at this point? It's going to be the first Vein Crystal turret going down. T-Tigers split. These Vein Crystal turrets are melting. T-Tigers is low, but they can't find the kills. The Kraken's still helping. Okay, no, that is T-Tigers going down. That's the Ezra going down. It's Truth with a double. It's Truth looking for a triple, but the Vein Crystal's too low. The triple means nothing when the Kraken swipes away your hopes and dreams, and Immortals take game one.
I cannot believe what I've just seen this game. And I'm sure Gangstars fans everywhere will be holding their head in their hands, and crying, why, Nova, why? Because that was a sealed, done, and dusted game, put in a spade and thrown out the window, and Immortals will gladly claim the remainder. They take the first game of this series. They are one game away from sealing their place in the Unified Western Live Championships. What a way to kick off this week.
Incredible stuff here at Scoundrel, and it's only going to get better. Ooh, we need a breather.